Everybody turn their mics on.
Ta-da.
I can do, we'll call the meeting to order. It's 5:01. We can get through some of this stuff for we can do roll call. We have Joan Ross, Councilor Joan Ross. We have executive. Oh, now she's back, so she can take over roll call.
Oh, thank you. What more, Jess? Salt. So, where were you?
Roll call. Roll call. We start with Joan.
Start with me. I sit here. Okay, finish the roll call.
Okay, we have executive assistant Taylor Robinson, CAO Jeff Sunderland, Warden Linda Gregory, Deputy CAO Tyler Pulley, Manager of Corporate Services Coralie Ross, Councilor Peter Schreer, and Councilor George Banzer. And I'm Deputy Warden Matthew Ross.
Thank you. So now we're going to pause the state guidance. All right. So the next is the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions?
Peter has something to read.
No, not that's for the council meeting.
Oh, council.
That's the council one.
You can wait then. I did have one addition.
Okay, the addition?
Data information.
And that would be under business item?
Yeah, we'll go with 4.2.
Yep.
And I might have one as well. I came across the Rural Transit Solutions Fund. Was wondering if we can make some time to just talk briefly about it, see if it's something we would like to pursue.
Would that be better for bylaw and policy?
Maybe my only concern is that it's a grant whose application has a timeline, so perhaps we could get ball rolling.
Okay, we'll put it on 4.3. Application. Is there anything else anyone wants to put on the agenda? Could I have approval of the amended agenda, please?
I'll approve the amended agenda.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. We have a presentation from Bruce Snell, our REMO coordinator. Could I have approval for him to come forward, please?
I motion to approve Bruce Snell from REMO to present tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Bruce, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for your time. If you don't know me, hopefully you all do by now, my name is Bruce Snell. I'm the Emergency Measures Coordinator for Digby REMO. REMO stands for Regional Emergency Measures Organisation. So I'm going to cover emergency management for elected officials. We tend to do it once every 4 years after an election. It's normally done by the provincial person. However, it's hard to get two councils together at once, so I'm going to go for it myself. I've handed you a booklet, and on there it's got some detailed information on what's expected of you during an emergency and what duties may come up for you. So what is an emergency and what would involve Digby Regional Emergency Measures Organisation? So when normal emergency services like police, fire, health services are overwhelmed by an incident or need assistance for a large-scale event, hurricane, bad winter storm, then Digby REMO would be involved. As a municipal official, there will be times when there is an emergency in your community that can range from snowstorms to floods, wildfires or hurricanes. A century ago, communities who were struck by natural disasters were pretty self-sufficient and remained functional in all aspects. But modern technology has made us far more vulnerable, as well as increased the likelihood of emergencies. Moreover, Canada has experienced more major forest fires, floods and hurricanes within living memory. In reality now, we can be called upon to open comfort centres even when the power's been out in the winter, just for a few hours. As council, your responsibilities may include assist with and or deliver approved messages to your areas, declare or cancel a local state of emergency, and this lasts for 7 days. So if we declare it, it will last 7 days, and then we can cancel it at any time. A state of emergency allows government the authority to do whatever is necessary for the safety of people and the protection of property and the environment. More specifically, a state of emergency permits authorities to control or prohibit travel, enter homes and buildings without a warrant, order evacuations, confiscate property, and order assistance. Another one of your duties may be to liaise with government officials from other governments. So you could deal with Annapolis County, Digby County, or maybe even the province. And lastly is to approve emergency policy changes or expenditures that go beyond pre-established limits. So if we have an emergency, we might need to spend some money. So we might need to ask for permission to do that. So how does emergency management work within the province and Digby Remo? There's 4 principles of emergency management. One is prevention and mitigation. The second is preparedness. Third, response. And finally, recovery, which is often the most important. Prevention and mitigation are covered by planning laws and bylaws and building codes. Preparedness, however, is having a plan, trained staff and mutual aid agreements and training and equipment. The response is to act before and immediately and during the disaster to manage the consequences through, for example, emergency public communications, search and rescue, medical assistance, and evacuations. This will minimise the suffering and losses with disasters by opening also comfort centres. The final phase, as I said, was recovery. The idea behind that is to repair and restore conditions to an acceptable level through measures taken after disaster. For example, return of evacuees back to their homes, trauma counselling, reconstruction, and economic studies and financial assistance where necessary. So where does the province come in? The province has the Department of Emergency Management, short for DEM. They're responsible for emergency planning and coordinating with emergency personnel within the province. Their office works with municipal authorities to help plan for emergencies and coordinate provincial responses. They're there to help with analysis, evaluation after the emergency as well. They have an emergency coordination centre in Dartmouth, an ECC, and that has a staff at the moment of 25 personnel. They're looking at 6 smaller ECCs within the province, and 1 should be in the western zone, where we don't know yet, and I think it's going to be probably 2 staff in it. That's in the pipeline. Digby Remo. So Digby Regional Emergency Management Organisation. We're responsible also for planning and coordinating the responses at municipal level. We liaise with the Provincial Coordination Centre and coordinate local resources when there is an emergency. So what do we have to carry out this task? An emergency measures coordinator, which is myself. I also have a backup, which is Laura Lee Milner, who is the bylaw officer for the town. An advisory committee, which we're going to have one on Thursday. And that consists of the mayor, the warden, and a councillor from each jurisdiction. Also both CAOs and my good self. The role of the advisory committee is to advise council on what's happening within the emergency world, approve the plan, and also to look at hazards within our area so that can focus the efforts of Digby Remo. So that basically guides what we do. There's another committee, and that's the planning committee, and that consists of myself, police, fire, provincial and local public works, public field and safety communications, they deal with the radios, local health authorities, Red Cross, Digby Ground Search and Rescue, and local transport, just to name a few. In our case, it's based around the Emergency Planning Committee for Wharf Rat Rally, because that's when we all get together, we plan for Wharf Rat Rally, so we're used to doing it. It maintains our relationship with the stakeholders, so that they know me and I know the head of the police and all that good stuff, so that a personal relationship is already made before a disaster happens, which always assists when a disaster does happen. As I said, Dartmouth has, the province has one ECC in Dartmouth. We have two ECCs, which is Emergency Coordination Centres. One is at the airport, and the second one is a town public works building. Both are fully independent and have backup generators, so they have their own power system. We've trained municipal and town staff to operate them as well. They're split into two teams. The list of the teams are in your handbooks, so it tells you which members of staff are doing which role. The main positions follow the international recognised system of the ICS, which is an incident command system. In there, the roles, you have the incident commander, which is going to be the CAO, either CAO, an EMC, and their job is to liaise with the province and the scene. A public information officer, really key, we've just got one. They're going to deal with information given to you guys and to the public, and also organise press conferences. Operations, the head of operations, they deal with the scene. So whatever's happening, they're the people who are dealing with the scene and assisting the scene itself. You then have plans, they're planning for the next phase. So we're dealing with the scene, and then plans is going to be looking at the next phase. Logistics, they're the people that look after the staff in the ECC. They also resource any supplies we need, such as excavators, sandbags, anything like that. They're in charge of getting that in and bringing it to the scene. Finance, they're the ones that are going to look after the hours, any expenditures we make, any contracts between people who buses or excavators, they will look after that. And hopefully we'll be able to get some money back from the province afterwards. There's three activation levels of Digby Remo. The first one is monitor. That's when a storm's on the horizon and we start to monitor it. The personnel involved is myself and the CEOs, and we deal with the province, communicate with them all the time. And that's through Teams meetings and situation reports. And then I pass on the information to the stakeholders. So if you see when there's a storm coming, you'll start to get emails from me. That information comes from the province, and I push it out to, I think there's over 100 people on that mailing list. So they all get the information on what's happening. The second activation level is partial. That's when myself, the CEOs, and some positions may be filled. Normally someone like logistics to help look after the comfort centres, or it could be finance, or it could be information. And the final one is full. And that's when all the positions are filled and the ECC is fully in place. The second team then is on standby. Remember I said we had two teams. So one team will be dealing with the task. The other team will be resting. If it goes over a long period of time, we'll bring the second team in after a designated period of time. And that'll be down to the incident commander. What else do we have? We have a plan. It's an all hazards plan with detailed sub-plans for specific emergencies, such as wildfires, floods, and evacuations. This is a hard copy, also an online copy, and on stick drives. Another tool we have is Alert Ready, and I'm sure you've all come across Alert Ready, which is when your phone goes off, giving you an alert, goes across the TV, and it also goes across radios. It gives us the ability to send out alerts, speak to our residents in a geographical area. So we can target the Digby itself, we can target, it'll overspill with cell phone towers, but we can target our own area. And on that, we'll give instructions to the public of what's happening and what they need to do about it, or what they can do about it. We can give that out for any agency within our area, and also offer ourselves. The RCMP have their own system, which is still Alert Ready, but they can do their own. Communications. What do we have for communications? We have trunk mobile radios. These are handheld, secure radios, and they're issued to key personnel. So the two CAOs have got one, the two heads of public works have got one, I have one, and my backup, Laura's got one. We have a satellite phone, so should the phone lines go down and the mobile systems go down, we can still talk to the province. We also have two Starlink systems. One is fitted at the airport, and that gives you internet. Even though the power's out, we can still have internet because we have a generator. And the other one is mobile, and that can go anywhere to the scene or wherever it's required. And Digby Ground Search and Rescue is trained on that so they can deploy it to wherever we need to. Other resources, we have a 10,000 watt mobile generator. That has the ability to provide heat, light and power to any building we choose to use. We have 16 comfort centres in our area. They're only opened after the event and when it's safe to do so. We have also one evacuation centre, which would be Digby Regional High School. So if we needed to do a specific evacuation, we'd move them to Digby Regional High School. We have memorandums of understanding with Clare and Annapolis to help us if we need it, and also us to help them. Department of Natural Resources and Renewables. So if we need fuel at short notice, they have a fuel supply in Cornwallis. We can use that for emergency purposes. The Red Cross, we have an MOU with them. If we need them, they'll come in. They feed people. Another thing they're really good at is donations. If we have a disaster in our area, we tend to get flooded with donations. And they're really good at looking after that, and it takes a load off the ECC staff. Training and exercises. We train twice a year, exercise twice a year. The last ones we did was exercise Jetstream, which was a jet fuel tanker that spilled over, and we had to deal with the spill. We had exercise Waterfall, which was a dam burst. We have 2 dam systems in our area, one on the Sissebu River and one on the Bear River. Exercise Fundy Rose, that's where the ferry caught fire, exercise only, and came back. We had to deal with all the people, which were obviously dumped on the side of the wharf and with no cars because they're all burnt up, so we had to deal with that. Exercise Winter Storm, which is a storm that hit the province, and we had to deal with that one. Exercise Sudden Surge, which was a hurricane, and that provided a big storm surge, and we had to evacuate people. Exercise only, obviously. And the final one we just did was Exercise Nova Bravo, and that was a provincial activation. So most of the ECCs within the province activated, and we worked with the provincial ECC. We actually declared a state of local emergency. We gave out an alert ready, and we communicate with the province. So in summary, as elected officials, your responsibility may include assist and or deliver approved messages to your area. This could also be taking part in a press conference as well. Just be aware of that one. Declare and cancel local states of emergency. We need council or the mayor and warden to approve that, so we would need you. Liaise with elected officials of other governments. Approve emergency policy changes and expenditures that go beyond normal boundaries. The key to good management of emergency is communications. Before, during and after, a consistent, factual set of information must be given out by everyone involved. That information you'll receive from the incident commander, which will either be either the CEOs or the public information officer. So the handbooks you've got now, more information on there. Go through them at your leisure, and I'll now open myself up to questions.
Anyone have a question? Peter, do you have a question?
Yeah, so you mentioned the school is the evacuation point, right? What if the emergency involves some kind of damage to the school that we cannot put people that we have a secondary rally point for that?
Yeah, then we go through Annapolis or Clare. We have the mutual aid agreement with them, so we then have to move to there. That's the evacuation centre of the school. It's the biggest place we have, and it's got a generator backup. It's got canteen facilities and sleeping. So there's not many places we have, but we have an MOU with Clare and Annapolis.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Is the province still working on the emergency alert that goes out? I noticed the last one there was quite a few people were saying it was delayed by a day. The next day. Yeah, there's been a lot of issues with Alert Ready. It's for various reasons. The province has either sent it out late for whatever reasons they have, but we are only issuing one for our own area. So if we have a disaster in our area, then we'd be the ones to issue it, and that would be down to us to send it out on time. It wouldn't be the province; it'd be us. They can do it for our area, but it would be our own. But it's an ongoing work. There's things that are tweaked all the time.
Nothing's perfect, but it is a good system when it's used.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Peter?
so the manual here refers to this Nova Scotians are encouraged to be ready to go on their own for at least the first 72 hours of an emergency. Do we have an idea or some kind of assessment of how ready the local population is to enter to these requirements?
Some are very ready, and they're used to it, especially if the islands are very independent. There's certain groups of communities that are very independent. They have their own systems in place. The fire halls often open up on their own as comfort centres. But what tends to happen, power is out for, as I said right at the start, for a few hours after a storm in the winter, then they're going to want comfort centres open. So they're never prepared enough. And they're supposed to be for 72 hours, but they're not.
Okay.
I'll jump in. Bruce did a great job handling that. So it's probably the most discussed topic, Peter, within the remote advisory or anytime we have events. That's why remote has like a section of the coastline and getting that message out, because the pressure starts, as Bruce said, 2 hours after a power outage, especially in winter. Some people are looking for help. Others could be on their own for a week and we never hear from them. Like, it's a real. But generally, I'd say population is looking for support earlier. Like Bruce said, our volunteer fire departments are tremendous, but it is a challenging message, and one that Bruce and the remote committee continues to work on, because it is a challenge. The province is also aware of that challenge. I think you're going to see that some of the work that they're hoping to do with the new department, but spread that word of being ready and having residents ready to be on their own for a little bit.
And as a follow-up to that question, do we have some form of checklist or program to help if someone is willing to get more emergency ready here? Do we have any resource for that person to know what to set up in the house, what to, like food supplies, what type of food, energy source?
Yep. On the municipal website, there is a link to that, and it's got a list of emergency kit. I also put it out on the coastline. That goes out periodically, and there's also a list of websites they can go to.
Okay. Yeah. So we had some kind of pointers there somewhere.
Oh, definitely. Yes.
Any other questions? George?
Bruce, if there was an emergency, let's say it's a big snowstorm and it had emergency on some back road somewhere, guys having a chest pain, heart attack or whatever, is there any system in place where the snowplow can be diverted to that particular road to escort an ambulance in?
Absolutely. Yep. That's actually probably going to be done through dispatch. So if the fire department or EHS can't get to the scene, they'll contact dispatch, and we can contact Public Works to send a plough there. And that does happen.
Yeah.
And normally when there's things like structure fires in the winter, they're going to send ploughs there to salt because there's so much water around. So yes, there is a system.
Anything else? Okay, thank you so much for giving us your time, and it was a great report.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
The next is the approval of the minutes of December the 10th. Is there any errors or omissions anyone sees from those minutes?
A motion to approve the minutes of December 10th, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. The next is the CAO report. Just to remind you, there is no meeting on the 21st of January. Council is on the 28th at 5. On the 4th of February, we're having public works at 5 and bylaw and policy at 6. On February the 11th, it's committee of the whole. On February the 18th, there's no meeting. And on February the 25th at 5 p.m., there is council. Any concerns on those? All right. Then our CAO update. As you see, Bruce has started his work with the fire departments, and it's going well on the fire review service. And it's to be complete by March 31st, 2025. The strategic planning has been, I think you all got a calendar invite for the 20th and 21st of February. The Equality and Anti-Racism Act, the online survey was launched on the 20th and it's open until the end of this month, January 31st. On the Accessibility Act, there is no update. Cell coverage, there's no update. And of course, in King's Transit, they're still working on the new governance structure, and it's expected to be presented to the board in January. Or how the new funding formula is ongoing, expected to be sent to the board in January. Any questions or concerns from the CAO update? Okay. The next is the departmental reports. Does anyone have any questions or concerns from any of these reports that were given by staff? Everybody was happy with those reports?
Yeah, everything looked good. What's going on?
Okay, so I have a motion to accept the departmental reports.
I'll motion to approve the department reports.
Is there a seconder? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. There is no dangerous slightly premises to be brought forward at this time. Next is our business items, the 2020. Oh, I'm sorry, I heard something. The 2024 election reports and stats, and that report is being given by our CAO.
So you see the pages that were attached. I probably wasn't looking to go into great detail because this is the report, but your next discussion on this will likely be in the spring or of 2028. Yeah, right. So that's the next time you revisit these topics is then. Staff will be able to refresh this report or pull it out then for you. So the returning officer put together the first 2 pages of the report, and then you could probably guess the deep statistical analysis is IntelliVote, the electronic voting supplier. So I think the only thing I'd flag, and nothing really with our report, obviously this election we've covered it before in audit committee, was the first time we've run all 5 districts in a long time, so that flushed out some good information for us going forward. It is interesting, again, not connected to our election, but could definitely impact the 2028 election. So there is a court challenge going on in the province, I believe the Municipality of Kings, about the e-voting. So everyone around the province will be waiting to see how that case progresses through the courts, and it will have an impact on the 2028 election. But yeah, other than that, certainly open to any questions anybody has about any information in either of the 2 packages with the election.
Seems a lot of people like to vote on the internet, look at the stats.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It was easy.
IntelliVote worked. Again, I think some of you may be aware, but just I interacted with you all differently pre-election. So, 3rd election? I think this is the 3rd election we've used, 3rd or 4th that we've used IntelliVote. There was another company looking to play a large role around the province in this election. That changed, how many, Taylor, 6 months before the election. They dropped out, and IntelliVote stood up and had a lot of customers come on board towards the end. They did a great job of the service has been what we expect from them, and the system works well. So we were very pleased with that. Yeah.
No, it was easy to use. From what people said, it was easy to use. It was quick. I'm surprised the province hasn't tried to use it yet, but maybe that's coming.
Yeah, I think they have more concerns about malicious intent than, not that we don't, and IntelliVote has protections, but to date, the belief on the municipal being a layer below, but it's coming, right? It's coming for the provincial and federal. It's a lot for them to tackle.
Well, I still have people tell me that they wanted to vote by paper.
Yep. And that's, I think, so sorry, I guess I skipped that part of the Kings. So the Kings the battle is over. So they did e-voting only, which more municipalities than ever did that. This one, the court challenge is based on you should have the right to ask for an alternative method.
Yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see. I expect that will take quite a while to play out in the courts. I don't think that'll be a very quick, but it will be obviously important for all municipalities. So I'm sure we'll hear from staff when that decision comes down.
Okay, the next is 4.2, data information, and our CAO is going to bring this forward.
Yeah, Data was hoping to be here tonight to do a presentation, but we weren't able to make that happen. So on your desk, you have a full page of the data information. I'll go through it kind of quickly. They're very excited. This is a new initiative that they're launching. So it's become very evident that people are not lining up to start or operate small tourism experiences. The data executive has agreed to become a creator and facilitator for some new experiences to draw tourists into the area in the off and shoulder seasons. So 2025 is the 60th anniversary of CBC releasing its documentary on Maud Lewis, which led to her fame. Data would like to celebrate the 60 years by having a festival called the 60 Days of Maud. The festival will run from May 1st to June 29th. They're going to be inviting artisans to showcase and sell their work. They're going to outfit the data building with Maud memorabilia and collectibles for sale. The artwork that hangs from the town light posts downtown will be switched from local artists to the Maud pendants for festival time. They'll hold a paint the house days at the Marshalltown Memorial. They'll secure wood to the exterior of the house and invite people to come and paint it, and then display that around Admiral's Walk. They will create directional signage to Maud's gravesite. They'll play the movie at the high school. They hope to kick it off with Mayor Bartlett and Warden Gregory. And they're hoping that the town will rename Admiral's Way to Maud Lewis Way for the festival. Public won't be charged for any of the events. The project will be funded by Data by way of special project funding requested from the Municipal Marketing Levy Committee. They're continuing to develop and add events. This is just for information to the municipality at this point. The one ask that they have for us is to assistance in erecting the directional signage to the cemetery once the signs are completed. The cemetery is out on the at North Range Crossroad. Yeah, North Range Crossroad.
We were there last month.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, it seems like a great initiative.
I like it.
Maud continues to draw attention to the area and kind of have. She has always been popular, but continues to be a very popular draw. We continue to have lots of, I'm going to say, ongoing interest this summer. I think our heritage coordinator Rob would agree that Maud continues to be very popular. So this, play to our strengths, right, is one of our things. This seems like a great idea.
I'd say the junior high schools teach a little bit of it too. So
yeah,
I think it's a great initiative on the part of Data. They do have a director now, right? And there's not any large amount of infrastructure. It's just kind of getting the thing organized. If it turns out well, fine. If it doesn't, then at least they tried something. At least they made an effort to, do something.
So I guess my question would be, I know this is short notice, but would we be willing to assist in the erecting of the new directional signage to the cemetery once those signs are complete?
We think so.
I would need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept will assist in erecting the new directional signage for the cemetery once the signs are completed.
For Maud Lewis.
For Maud Lewis.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded. Motion carries. Could we send back that we are very impressed with this initiative. I think everyone's comfortable with. All right, the next is 4.3. Would you like to talk about your grant or the grant?
Yeah. All right. So just briefly, like an overview of what the grant is about. It's called the Rural Transportation Solutions Fund, and so there are two envelopes there. One is $250,000 for projects that are not initiated by an organization with transportation experience, and they have a bigger ticket for organizations that have that experience or they are partnering with someone who has that's $10 million, up to $10 million for each project. So I see that we have a few mobility challenges in our area coming from the NAC. I think it's one of the priorities there for the area, but I see that mobility is limited also from the other districts, right? We have this hub here in Digby, and connecting to it is basically only feasible by car most of it, right? We have a few options, but they're somewhat limited. So what I was thinking is that perhaps we could apply for that fund, maybe see if there's appetite from the municipality to run a public transportation service on strategic lines, or partner with a group that would like King's Transit. We could partner with them, or I don't know. The possibilities are up for discussion, but the resources are there, and I think if we can mobilize something to take advantage of this, we would be addressing a real need for our area. And the deadline to apply is March. I have to see the exact date here. It's somewhere in early March. So if we would like to do this, we would need the time to plan, and my suggestion is that we could open a work stream in municipality to dedicate some time to evaluating this, getting some more information, if it's applicable to us even, and then go from there.
I have a meeting tomorrow with our board with King's Transit. I can bring this up and ask, because I have an idea we already get that money.
So I believe, yeah, but I think we may be talking about two steps. So I believe we are tagged in it because King's Transit is involved in receiving funds.
Right.
But I think you're looking for more localized solutions, right, at King's Transit.
Okay.
I guess my suggestion or request would be if we could leave it with us just to do a bit more research and understanding, and maybe come back to council for a discussion, and then we could, bylaw policy would be a great place too. We can touch base on it at the council meeting.
Yeah, that's my suggestion. Right now they have information sessions going. I attended to one this afternoon. It's pretty good. They answer questions and all that, and so we can see what are the criteria, what do we have to put forward there for a successful application, that type of stuff. And as you said, so King's Transit, they do have some money there that they received recently, but I think we would still be counting on their goodwill to come here and do something across competing priorities, right? They would have to say, okay, we have this and we have that, so we'll select the ones, the lines that make more sense to us. It's not necessarily addressing the issues that we have over here. And so if we can put a step forward and just address our needs on our own, that would be better.
Just so that you know that we are waiting for a report by summer on the different routes that they may be looking at. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I think the best thing for us to do now is have staff go and look at what's feasible and bring it back to us at our February 4th meeting or at our council meeting.
I think we could gather some preliminary information just by the council meeting, and then we can talk about that for February 4th and just see where we're at. But yeah, we can definitely touch base on the council.
My only problem with this is that this study has been due. As I understand it, the date has been postponed a few times already. Right?
So yeah, and it's not going to address the more rural area. It's not going to change much from the current corridor.
Yeah,
Right? Like
that's
the routes,
general.
if there's tweaks, they're going to be tweaks. They're not going to be broad expansions, right? So we continue to have challenges in the area of that feedback piece, right? So nope, for sure.
We'll get staff to do that.
Right.
Thank you very much for bringing that forward. The next, under correspondence or information items, we have the letter from the Honorable John Moore, Minister of Municipal Affairs. And of course, we have the NSAR letter as well. Any questions or concerns from either of those correspondents? Hearing none, we will go to committee reports. Apparently we're starting with me, but I'm going to ask the indulgence. For example, there's two of us on Digby Area Recreation. I am technically, I would say, the second person on that. Mm-hmm. So what I would like to do, so we're going to sort of skip around a little bit. I will start off, but when it comes like to Digby Area Recreation, I'm going to ask Matt to give his report, and then I will add on anything that's needed. Because if you're the second person, you should hear from the first person. Is that okay with everybody? Okay. So, and this is our first beat of the can. So under reports, under the Remo advisory, we are meeting on the 16th. So that made that like easy. The joint RCMP advisory meeting, we're meeting on the 16th. The accessibility advisory committee, we have not met as of yet. The Atlantic Mayor's Congress, we did not have anything this past fall because of the elections in our municipality, or in Nova Scotia. So they're looking at it sometime this spring. Looks like it's going to be in St. John, New Brunswick, but it's not confirmed. The one thing I will comment on, the town of Digby, the mayor is interested in attending as well, which I think is great. Next is the Digby Area Recreation Commission, and I'm going to ask Matt to speak first.
Yeah, thank you. We had our annual Christmas staff dinner on December the 8th. We had a meal at the Wheelhouse. We gave congratulations were given to Danny Hardview for 25 years of service and Peter Turnbull for his 16 years on the dartboard. We also held a meeting on December the 18th and talked about the upcoming dart budget, the feasibility study on the rink, and the ongoing talks with the Tri-County Regional School Board on community use of schools. Recently, there has been some shutdowns to the rink because of mechanical issues, but Simcoe and staff have been working hard to get the facility up and running as quickly as possible.
Okay, what I wanted to add was the 2025 volunteer awards are going to be taking place. There's a deadline of March the 9th. I will make sure everyone gets sent out, or I haven't already done that, but I'll double check it, that you'll get them, and we're ask your groups, get them to fill in. You know, if you know of someone, you know, and we need it filled in. The other I wanted to mention was the Soul Sisters, Try a Sport, Digby, Weymouth, and Islands. Wrestling will be on Thursday, January the 30th. Pond hockey on February the 4th. Basketball on February the 11th. The kickboxing, and I can't even say Muay Thai, M-U-A-Y. How would you say that? Muay Thai. That's on February the 18th. Curling will be on February the 27th and Friday, March 7th at the Van Tassel Lake Trail. I will also be handing this to Taylor, so her to put it up on our website, because these are all great things. And I will make sure you all get copies of that. The only other thing I wanted to mention is we had a policy meeting, and we had so much fun. We can't wait to have our next meeting.
Yeah.
So thank you. You were really great. The next, never lay something down, Linda, when you're doing this. How can I lose it that fast? Oh, yeah. Okay. The Digby Municipal Fire Association, that meeting is coming up in March. The meeting that was held in November, they were just going over some concerns and looking forward to what Bruce is doing over their revamp of the system to see what can be done and improved. Waste check. Well, this is sort of fun. We actually met today at Waste Check, and some things happened that I was pleased about. First of all, we had our audit completed and passed on December the 20th, 2024. We had 648 carts purchased. We do have a recycle coach app that you can look up. Highlights from the West Check connection we will be sending out to everyone, and that's the highlights of what's going on with Waste Check. Mike Bartlett has become vice chair. Okay. The only other thing is we have several new members, and we had an orientation today, which I will be sending out to everyone, that what our role is and what we do with Waste Check. On saying that, were we supposed to go over what we have done as well, or is that for our council meeting?
Nope, that's gonna stay in council.
Okay. So those are my reports from what I have done with the committee reports. But just because of the way December goes, it's usually a limited amount of committee reports. So Deputy Warden Ross, the Remo Advisory.
No, we haven't had a meeting yet, so we'll go into the planning advisory. Worked with the board, staff, and Chris Millier on a development agreement application for Porter's Lane in Seabrook for an additional residential build. This is still ongoing, excuse me, and will be updated at next meeting. I was chosen as chair for the committee, and fellow councillor Joan Ross is vice chair. I also have two other people on there if they want to.
Yeah, I was going to ask Joan first.
Joan, if you want to add anything to it.
I don't really have anything to add to it. It was my first meeting, and it was kind of trying to absorb it all.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, Peter?
Yeah, would be the same. The only topic of notice would be the development agreement in Porter's Lane. Yeah.
And the joint RCMP meeting?
Yep. Digby Development met in November, dealing with a potential buyer on purchasing 6 acres of land. Process is still ongoing, and we'll update later on in the spring. And Peter, you're also on that with me. You have anything to add?
Sorry, which one?
The Digby Development Agency.
Yeah. So I think the most interesting element there is there's interest in developing the area. There are some party expressed interest in potentially acquiring plot there, and so things are moving forward.
Senior Safety Committee, who's the first on that? Okay, go ahead.
I have senior safety. We met in November. We discussed sending another letter to MLA Jill Baltzer's office pertaining to increased funding in term lengths from the province. We had not heard back from the initial funding request letter we sent last spring, I thought a reminder letter would be in order as there are new roles for ministers in government. We also funded a request from Frugal Moms looking for money for food to help fill the Christmas hampers for seniors in the area this Christmas. We had some money left over from Senior Safety COVID money from the province. Wendy Morell's group has given $326 and some gas cards. And George,
George? Do you have anything to add?
Nothing else, no. I missed that meeting in November.
So next is the Rent Liaison and Oversight Committee.
I had to send my regrets to it was just a webinar in December. It was in the afternoon. I was too busy at work. It was on business plan going forward, I believe. And Peter, you got on that. You made that webinar.
The project plan, yeah, the strategic plan.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, that was actually a very interesting session. So the group has hired a consulting firm to guide the strategic review, and so this first meeting was sort of more exploratory discussion where we would suggest what our priorities are, and it was they came up with a method there to capture everyone's preferences from a list of pre-made list of topics on each bucket of the strategic plan. And the main takeaways there is that there's it's interesting to see that the stakeholders are pretty much aligned. I think the points that were important were really the preference of the vast majority. It was not sort of it was very skewed to a few topics, and it's interesting to see also that we're looking into things that don't boil down to natural resources and primary industries. There's a bit more forward thinking around what can we do to develop a service economy, like a transformation economy here. So that's where we're at. We expressed our strategic directions. There are pointers that we would like to see in a plan, and now we're waiting for them to come back with something more consistent that we can brainstorm again.
Okay. Digby Harbor Association.
We're having a meeting Thursday night.
Who was having a meeting Thursday night? Okay. Now, when we look here, there's only going to be a few, because some of it has been answered. So, the council manager, the Heritage Advisory Committee.
We're meeting on January 22nd, so we haven't met for 2 or 3 months. But
Well, I guess there's nothing to add from Joan as well then. How about the Digby Art Bank jury?
I haven't received any information on when the next. I suppose they have to get some submissions first before we decide on the winners.
The Digby Library Committee.
Nope, they haven't called any meetings.
Tyview.
Tyview didn't have a meeting in December.
Okay. And Western Counties.
Yeah, we had a meeting. Was late November or December. Things are coming down to crunch time at the libraries. They haven't got their new funding formulas yet, but they had to dip into the reserves to give the employees a kind of a living wage, something they could get by on. Over the next few months, they've got to determine some of the smaller libraries, like the Weymouth one and maybe Westport or whatever. They don't want one employee working there by themselves, so you got to have 2 people, and it's just not always a lot of money available. So they do have some hard decisions coming in a couple months.
Okay. Gary. And we will go to Councillor Ross. I think you're down to the Marketing Levy Committee.
Has not met.
Okay.
No, Heritage Advisory Committee is meeting, but hasn't Planning Advisory Committee, Councillor Ross did a report on that. You guys let me all off the hook here. Waste check committee, our warden did that one. The December 20th meeting was basically just about accepting the audit for 2023, which I thought was a little delayed, but other than that, and the Digby area tourism meeting, I did go to the one at Christmas time. It was in conjunction with their social, and it was the first meeting, and it was kind of hard to follow because of the setup of the room. When I was in discussion with people at my table, the reflection and the sense that I got was that their perception was the role of data was basically to provide the materials for the innkeepers, and the innkeepers passed it out to the people. I was a bit confused because the website said their mandate was about cooking up ideas and coming forward with new ideas. So I did arrange to meet with Doug Ralph after the meeting, and walked away from that feeling much better in that they are, as we just found out tonight, they are being more creative in promotion in tourism. And it's the direction that they are planning to move in as they go forward. And his sense was that this is being facilitated in part because they now have a paid employee that can move those agendas forward for them.
And Peter, the only one I see you need to speak on is the Western Region Crown Land Stakeholders Interaction Committee.
His favorite committee, from what I hear.
Busy one.
So, yeah, very busy. So yeah, nothing to report. Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to say we're going to go in camera. One's legal, one's contractual. We may have to come back out and.
I think if you're okay with it, I think we may just, if you're okay, move both of those in cameras. We have in camera in the next meeting we're in.
Yeah.
So we can move all these in cameras into the same in camera session and keep our schedule.
Oh, okay. So,
Or do you need a motion to move those?
No, we'll need to add them to the next agenda.
all right, is there a seconder for the adjournment?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? We have 4 call. Councillor Manzer.
Here.
Councillor Scheer.
Here.
Councillor Ross. Here. Deputy Warden Ross. Here. Executive Assistant Taylor. Our CAO Jeff Sunderland. Our Deputy CAO Tyler Pulley. And our Manager of Corporate Services Coralie Ross. All are in attendance. I'd like us to pause to seek guidance. And I would now ask Councillor Scheer to read the mission statement, please.
Municipality of Digby mission statement to provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meets the community needs while preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all.
Thank you very much. Under the administrative and procedural items, we need approval of the agenda, but we need to have 2 additions added. Did someone? I will add them, I guess. We're going to have 2 contractual and 1 legal under the in-camera. So it will be 1 legal, 1 contractual, 1 legal, so you know how it goes. Is there a second? Is there a mover for the amended agenda?
I'll move the approval of the amended agenda.
Is there a seconder?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. There's nothing under business items. Could I have someone move to go in camera, please?
Motion to go in camera.
And it's for, as I said, 2 legal and 1 contractual.
Legal and contractual.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Okay, now we are back in session. Would someone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to appoint Tyler Pulley, our new CAO, January 20th, 2020.
With the contract.
With the contract presented.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a seconder?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Have a good one.